Good morning, New York. Good afternoon, Tel Aviv. This is Trending. We have a great show for you today. Coming up, film producer Nancy Spielberg joins us in studio to talk about her smash hit documentaries and what it's like to work in the same industry as her famous brother, Stephen. The Beatles' legendary album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, turns 50. We'll tell you how the mega anniversary is being marked. And fan favorite Pretty Woman, the musical, comes to Broadway. Good morning, I'm Meredith Ross. We begin with the storm that is Wonder Woman. The film, starring Israeli actress Gal Gadot and directed by Patty Jenkins, has been getting rave reviews. Some are calling it one of the best superhero movies ever. In fact, its Rotten Tomatoes rating sits at a whopping 94%. But fans in Lebanon won't be able to see it on the big screen. The country has banned the blockbuster from theaters because Gadot is Israeli. It's not the only film banned in the Arab world for having ties to Israel. I-24 News culture correspondent Daniel Campos with the details.
There will be a shout
For decades, countries in the Muslim world have been boycotting international films they consider Zionist. Let's have a look at some of the most famous examples. In 1959, the Arab League announced a boycott in Damascus, that all Arab League states would ban the Hollywood film Ben-Hur, because its leading actress was Israeli.
For whose love Ben-Hur.
The 1960 picture Exodus, starring Paul Newman as Ari Ben-Kanan, was never even listed for screenings in Arab cinemas due to its Zionist tone. The romantic comedy Funny Girl was released in 1968, a year after the Six-Day War, co-starring Egyptian actor Omar Sharif and Jewish actress Barbara Streisand, known for being outspokenly pro-Israel. Sharif was condemned for his sensual scenes kissing the Jewish actress. The film was banned in Egypt. In 1994, the government of Indonesia banned the showing of the Oscar-winning film Schindler's List, claiming due to its graphic sadism and nudity. Members of censor boards around the Arab world claimed the movie should be banned because the film was sympathetic towards the Jewish cause. More recently, Ridley Scott's Exodus, Gods and Kings, was banned in Morocco, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt. The main argument behind the ban seemed to be historically and religious inaccurateness and being Zionist. Wonder Woman was set to premiere in most of Beirut's major cinemas on Wednesday night, after private showings had been held the day before. The distributor for Warner Brothers in the region has stated that release screenings were canceled a few hours in advance. Tony Chakra, managing director of the distributor Joseph Chakra and Sons, said the movie will screen in many Arab countries, including the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Oman. Of course, unless the boycott in Lebanon will have a domino effect.
Nancy Spielberg is a film producer, and yes, she is related to director, producer, and screenwriter Steven Spielberg. He's her big brother. She recently began producing films, but quickly made a name for herself, producing gripping documentaries that tell the stories of the Jewish people, from the cockpit of Jewish American fighter pilots who volunteered to protect and establish the state of Israel after World War II, to the basketball court where underdogs Maccabi Tel Aviv beat CSKA Moscow, one of the most important but untold sports stories ever. She joins us in studio today. Nancy, thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us here at I-24 News. So first of all, tell us about your production company and how you got into the film industry.
Well, we all got into the film industry at a very early age because when my brother decided at 15 he was making films, and we are three little sisters, we were the cast and crew. So we didn't have a choice. We didn't want to get beat up. We said, yes, we'll do whatever you say. So we acted, and we were the script people and the special effects and all that. And I literally stayed out of the film business on purpose for many, many years. I was writing, and I love writing. And my sister's also a screenwriter, and she wrote the movie Big with Tom Hanks. So that was her moment. And slowly I started to get involved, probably because it was pushed on me. People needed help, and I love a good story, and I wanted to help, and so I creeped in slowly in the doc world mostly, not the feature film.
But why did the decision to do it in the doc world and with a real Jewish focus?
You know, there's so many stories, great stories that are real. They're real stories. So I didn't really feel the need to go into the other area. Plus, I was a little intimidated to be up against, I mean, what if I'm in a box office against the big S? You know, I didn't think that was a good idea. But I really wanted just to help tell stories that matter, parts of our history, things that will be lost, and, you know, kids don't want to read history books. So to me, in a sense, I'm making historical documents with some of these documentary films.
And they're incredible stories, one of which I mentioned when I was introducing you. Let's start with On the Map. It's the story where the Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball team won against Russia. So let's actually have a look at the clip and then we'll talk.
Great. Okay.
There are some things that are more important than sport.
It is easily one of the greatest sporting accomplishments ever. All that excitement, all that pride, it just came out of my heart.
Well, that man is a big face here in Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tal Brody.
He's great. Well, what's great about this film is Donnie Menken was working on an Israeli version. And when he and I met, we saw that this was such a story that was way bigger than Israel and belonged to many people, because sports is never just about sports. It's about politics. Everything plays out on the field. And we loved that angle of, this little country was sort of a crappy team, and these players that came, and it started to, go up the ranks in the European Championship. But the Russian team, CSKA Moscow, was the team to beat, but they refused to recognize Israel's right to exist and refused to play them. In the end, they had to play them.
They had to.
They forfeited one game. They played the second one in neutral territory in Belgium, and really nobody thought Israel had a chance. It's like the Russians in the ice hockey, the Russians and Americans in Miracle on Ice. So, and it was really a moment of not just victory, but there was a whole pride and lifting of the spirits for the Israeli people. But the film translated to everyone. We took it into a much larger arena.
And it's not available yet, right?
Not yet. Okay. We are just now we're in film festivals in the U.S., and we're doing special screenings, and we're working on the distribution.
Wow. And let's move on now to another documentary that you worked on, Who Will Write Our History. It's an amazing story of members in the Warsaw Ghetto in World War II trying to keep a memory alive. So let's have a look at the trailer.
On July 26th, there was an extraordinary meeting of the archive. They decided that it was time to bury everything that they had collected so far. There was no time to lose.
I handed over the last torn-out pages from my diary. It could happen that not even one witness will survive to tell our tragedy.
As they were filling the boxes, they were writing their last wills and testaments.
We were not afraid of the risk. We understood that we were creating a piece of history, and this is more important than single lives.
I've certainly never heard about this before. It seems like many people haven't.
It was truly a buried story. I mean, this was a group in the Warsaw Ghetto that saw the writing on the wall. They realized they wouldn't survive, and they said, we need to document life and death in the Warsaw Ghetto, or the Germans will be rewriting history and write this chapter out of the books. So they wrote diaries. They buried these diaries and these documents, 30,000 pages, in tin boxes and milk cans, in the hopes that somebody would survive and that these documents would scream the truth to the world. This is still in production.
Okay, it's still in production. It's very chilling, but very important story to tell. And because we are running out of time, we have to move on now to Above and Beyond. Unfortunately, we don't have time to show the trailer, but it's about Jewish American fighter pilots who fought in World War II, volunteering to fight for what would be the state of Israel.
Right.
It's amazing.
It's crazy because these guys came back from fighting for the good old US of A, and they were supposed to get on with their lives, and instead, and they weren't Zionists, they weren't really connected, they smuggled planes out of the US against an embargo, so they actually became criminals, and some of them lost their citizenship, and they flew and fought in Israel's War of Independence.
And can we see this yet? It's out?
Oh yeah, this is out on iTunes and Netflix, and it's just a great, great story.
Well, I know what's on my weekend watch list. Nancy, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
If anybody wants to see, they go to playmountproductions.com, which is my production company, and they can, check out everything.
We'll do that. Thank you so much again. Coming up next, celebrity news with Maya Kramer. Stay tuned.